Hello, happy Wednesday. Here to share some good news with you, a little bit of wisdom for your day. I have a lot of topics to talk about for Wednesday wisdom. God gave them to me, but I also like to be led by the Spirit, and sometimes He gives me videos that aren't on my topic list. And so this last couple of weeks, I've been reading the book of Hebrews, and I was in chapter 11, and I really was just so touched by it, and I felt kind of a stirring just to read to you Hebrews chapter 11. It's such an encouraging faith chapter, and for me to unpack this chapter, it would probably take hours, multiple sessions of teaching. So that's not what this is. It's a quick just reading about it. But what I want to share with you, and for your wisdom for this week, is to listen or reread Hebrews chapter 11. And I'm sorry, I have to hold my phone because I'm on the road today, trying to get this out. It's kind of late already. But reread chapter Hebrews 11, or listen as I read it to you. And really, if there's something that strikes you, I just want to encourage you to go back and search it out. So if you aren't familiar with the Old Testament story that is in Hebrews 11, just go back. If something hits you, just really kind of dive into that. I feel like there's just so much on it. Anyway, Hebrews chapter 11, the faith chapter. Now faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. This is what the ancients were commended for. By faith, we understand that the universe was formed at God's command, so that what is seen was not made out of what was visible. By faith, Abel brought God a better offering than Cain did. By faith, he was commended as righteous when God spoke well of his offerings. And by faith, Abel still speaks even though he is dead. And you know what happened. Cain killed Abel because he was jealous. So there's the first reference. By faith, Enoch was taken from this life so that he did not experience death. He could not be found because God had taken him away. Crazy. For before he was taken, he was commended as one who pleased God. And without faith, it is impossible to please God. Because anyone who comes to him must believe that he exists and that he rewards those who earnestly seek him. Some translations say diligently seek him. This is a very big verse. God is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. So not only diligently seek him, but have faith. You have to believe that he exists and diligently seek him. Powerful. This is so powerful. Sorry, I have to turn the page here. I'm using one hand because by faith, Noah, when warned about things not yet seen, in holy fear, built an ark to save his family. By his faith, he condemned the world and became heir of the righteousness that is in keeping with faith. By faith, Abraham, when called to go to a place he would later receive as his inheritance, obeyed and went, even though he did not know where he was going. By faith, he made his home in the promised land like a stranger in a foreign country. He lived in tents, as did Isaac and Jacob, who were heirs with him in the same promise. For he was looking forward to the city with foundations, whose architect was and builder is God. Sorry. The print is very small in this Bible I'm using. And by faith, even Sarah, who was past childbearing age, was enabled to bear children because she considered him faithful who had made the promise. This is so powerful. Anyway, if any of these stories are standing out to you, go look it up about Abraham and Sarah and what happened and how old she was. Noah, all these stories. And so from this one man, and he as good as dead, came descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky and as countless as the sand on the seashore. That was Abraham's promise. All these people were still living by faith when they died. They did not receive the things promised. They only saw them and welcomed them from a distance, admitting that they were foreigners and strangers on earth. People who say such things show that they are looking for a country of their own. If they had been thinking of the country they had left, they would have had opportunity to return. Instead, they were longing for a better country, a heavenly one. Therefore, God is not ashamed to be called their God, for he has prepared a city for them. By faith, Abraham, when God tested him, offered Isaac as a sacrifice. That's a big one. He who had embraced the promises was about to sacrifice his one and only son, even though God had said to him, "It is through Isaac that your offspring will be reckoned." Abraham reasoned that God could even raise the dead, and so in a manner of speaking, he did receive Isaac back from death. That's crazy. So Isaac was the promised son, and God says, go kill him. Abraham obeys, and then at the last minute, we know the story. There's a ram caught in the thicket that becomes the sacrifice. Isaac was seed. Anyway, by faith, Isaac blessed Jacob and Esau in regard to their future. By faith, Jacob, when he was dying, blessed each of Joseph's sons and worshipped as he leaned on the top of his staff. By faith, Joseph, when his end was near, spoke about the exodus of the Israelites from Egypt and gave instructions concerning the burial of his bones. By faith, Moses' parents hid him for 3 months after he was born because they saw he was no ordinary child, and they were not afraid of the king's edict. That's a huge story, man. I'll tell you what. By faith, Moses, when he had grown up, refused to be known as the son of Pharaoh's daughter. He chose to be mistreated along with the people of God rather than to enjoy the fleeting pleasures of sin. He regarded disgrace for the sake of Christ as of greater value than the treasures of Egypt, because he was looking ahead to his reward. By faith he left Egypt, not fearing the king's anger. He preserved because he saw him who is invisible. By faith he kept the Passover and the application of blood, so that the destroyer of the firstborn would not touch the firstborn of Israel. I'm sorry, I'm probably shaking a lot. By faith, the people passed through the Red Sea as on dry ground, but when the Egyptians tried to do so, they were drowned. By faith, the walls of Jericho fell after the army had marched around them for 7 days. By faith, the prostitute Rahab, because she welcomed the spies, was not killed with those who were disobedient. And what more shall I say? I do not have time to tell about Gideon, Barak, Samson, and Jephthah, about David and Samuel and the prophets, who through faith conquered kingdoms, administered justice, and gained what was promised, who shut the mouths of lions, quenched the fury of the flames, and escaped the edge of the sword, whose weakness was turned to strength, and who became powerful in battle and routed for foreign armies. Women received back their dead, raised to life again. There were others who were tortured, refusing to be released so that they might gain an even better resurrection. Some faced jeers and flogging and even chains and imprisonment. They were put to death by stoning, and they were sawed in two. They were killed by the sword. They went about in sheepskins and goatskins, destitute, persecuted and mistreated. The world was not worthy of them. They wandered in deserts and mountains, living in caves and holes in the ground. These were all commended for their faith, yet none of them received what they had promised, since God had planned something better for us, so that only together with us they would be made perfect. I love all those Old Testament story references. I love hearing about, all those stories were just incredible, and it's like a recap in Hebrews 11, talking about the faith chapter. So faith is awesome. And remember, God is a rewarder of those who diligently, earnestly seek him. And I just pray this blesses you today, and dive in. Even going into Hebrews chapter 12, so powerful. Had a big election yesterday. We are in a new season in the United States. And regardless of who was elected president, regardless of who is the sitting president, regardless of who your candidate was, Jesus is on the throne, ruling and reigning, governing in the earth. And we are Christians in the earth, are supposed to be aligned to the Lord and governing in the earth. And so we have a big part to play in what's happening in the earth right now. And so, just wanted to bless you with the faith chapter out of Hebrews 11. I hope you have an incredible day, and thanks for tuning in. Remember, I'm praying for you if you're listening, and thank you.